Welcome everyone to the Pantheon. I am Ray, and today we're looking at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. It's a movie from James Gunn. It's a film of unknowns and unknown characters which became bigger than anyone anticipated. And because at this point, the summer of 2014, every tentpole film was a bust. This was the film that saved the day. Besides, I'm going to say The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which did relatively well. The last big film, Captain America Winter Soldier, that made over $700 million. And this was the next big thing. It pretty much saved the film industry. And it was a bunch of characters who didn't belong together, that needed each other. It became a family. It had a killer soundtrack. It brought together nostalgia. So those who were Zoomers, those who were millennials, those who were Generation X, there was a little something in the music that kind of blended it all together. That brought us all together, and it's a feel-good movie. It's a summer blockbuster movie of the year. It was an event, and it brought the family. It brought fans. It brought girls, boys. It brought everyone together in a really uplifting way, and it was with no expectations, and it was a summer tentpole season looking pretty dire. This film was a breath of fresh air. So let's discuss that more with my partner Evie and get his thoughts.
So, your general thoughts of it then?
My general thoughts, it was, at first I thought it was okay. Some guy, parent passed away,
Mm-hmm.
and then the ship comes and light shines on him, and next thing you know, it's like 26 years later.
Yeah, the opening was very strange. It's kind of jarring, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he lands right on this planet, takes out a Walkman, starts dancing around. That was amazing. That was really funny for me. That was a high point. He gets chased by a villain,
Mm-hmm.
and you're thinking, what's going on here? But then it begins to, I guess, take shape. So what's going on, and then from there it gets way better. I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think I would, but I did. And your thoughts?
Yeah, this was. You're right. The beginning opens up like from his childhood, and then he gets basically he's an Earthling who gets an alien abduction,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't really go back to the abduction ever,
No.
ever beginning. So that gets kind of given to you in the second film, like Volume 2.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a great start because you're like, you're like, what just happened? And then you're right. And then there's the soundtrack is what makes this movie so amazing.
True.
Like Volume 1, it's an actual like greatest hits of music from the 70s and 80s. Like disco and funk and some pop rock and classic tunes, like stuff that we haven't heard from decades back.
For sure.
So for people who've been around for a long time, it's very reminiscent. And for those who are hearing the soundtrack for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
it's some great sounds. And a lot of artists are sampling these music. So
For sure.
So you get to hear the authentic, like original music that where all these, like whether it's Eminem or Dr. Dre, whatever music they sample. Now you're knowing where it came from, like the grassroots history of it. So,
Exactly.
so in that sense, it's a great exploration of like music, and just so even if you're not of that era of the music, it's so fun, and so it's like you're in a trip on it to its own.
So it makes me want to go and watch it now.
Well, exactly, right, and that's the beauty of it, right? That's like sort of like with Hamilton, like the music of Hamilton, and the politicalness of it all. It's really like there's a lot of history and layering of it, but like they use hip hop and they use like current music and they use like historical music, and it doesn't matter where you're from. It's gonna like music is so universal, like everyone will gravitate to it and really enjoy what you're watching. And this is like a giant musical video ride,
Yeah.
So even if it's slowing down or it's kind of slow, you're not feeling it. You're just having such a great like just roll of everything. It's just amazing, and I enjoy. That's one of the things I really did enjoy, and
Mm-hmm.
it was sort of subconscious. I didn't even pick up on that when I saw it in theaters.
Uh-huh.
It's just on the rewatch that I'm like, oh wow, they're using this song. I'm like, oh yeah, because now that you've seen the film, you're like, okay, now you could look at like other parts of the film and pick it apart if you want, if you will. But
Yeah.
even when you pick it apart, you're like, no, this is really enjoyable. I like what they did on with the characters here, and it's a a ragtag bunch of guys who shouldn't be together but are stuck together, and they have their own issues, but it's like they have a common goal, and it's sort of interesting.
Exactly.
So I really enjoyed. Like for me, I'm gonna give this movie like a solid 9. Like it was like for me the year that came out. I know that year when it came out, there was nothing really in theaters for the longest time. And this film, I think I went to see. I would go back to see this twice or 3 times because it was such a great joy.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
for me. So like it was the film of the summer for me, hands down. And it wasn't a film that I thought would be like great, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And it was just amazing. I think back then, I think it was The Man from Uncle was released that year, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, probably something else. But like this was the film, and
Yeah, for sure. It reminds me of G-Force a long, long time ago. Remember that?
oh yeah, Battle. Oh yeah, that's wow. Yeah,
Battle for the Galaxy or Battle
yeah,
of anyway.
yeah.
Yeah,
That
it kind
was.
of with Zartan or whatever his name
Mhm,
is,
mhm,
and the 5 people right on the ship. Yeah, it took
mhm,
me way, way back. I loved it.
yeah.
I would give it like a 9.
Mhm. Oh yeah, it's
I
a
really liked it.
yeah, no, you're right. Because for those who like the really '80s anime, like Grandizer and Volt, like this predates Voltron, but like yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, yeah,
exactly.
uh,
I really liked it.
yeah, that's really cool.